So instead of you responding with, sure, I'll come by, and accepting that you are just going as friends, you could say, I'd love to come over as friends. We'll see what I leave as, with a little winky face. And then what time do you want me? Right? Like one upping. If you don't want to be that bold, because that seems like a big leap to how you've been with her, you could say you'd love to. And when you're there, be playful, flirt, don't act too nice, and definitely do not act friendly. Always take the opportunity to get in front of her and make her feel something about you, something that she likes, something that makes her feel feminine. And that is something she'll make time for. Okay. If you want more tips on how to make a woman feel things about you that are sexual in nature, then check out my full video on YouTube called 99% of Women Get Turned On by This. And I put the link below. This video shows you exactly how to make a woman feel something about you that is not friendly. So go watch it now. I'll see you next time.
Welcome to the C2C podcast. Welcome back, everybody. We appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here. Matter of fact, give yourself a round of applause for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. This is the home of modern dating, entrepreneurship, modern finance, and much, much more. What are we talking about tonight? It's going to be fun tonight. It's going to be a little bit lighthearted tonight. We're going to have some fun. We're going to be talking about dating coaches and pickup artists. There's also relationship coaches, but that's a little bit more advanced because that's after you've, actually attained the person. And then you get into the relationship coach, because the relationship coach is going to teach you how to nurture the relationship. These dating coaches are teaching you how to actually establish the relationship. So you saw the clip in the beginning. That lady is Marnie Wing Girl is her moniker. She's a very, very successful. As a matter of fact, the subjects that I'm using tonight for our examples are three of the most successful dating coaches out there. There's a whole bunch of these people, by the way. This has been an eye-opening topic for me and, for you, because first of all, I always, when I would hear dating coach, I would think dating coach, what dating coach? What are they going to tell you? What dating, how? Like, it didn't make any sense to me anyway, but as I did research, I started to see that there was, there's a lot of these people. There's a whole bunch of, I was blown away. Like, seriously, I'm flabbergasted. I'm using the word flabbergasted tonight. Because what I've seen over the last 3 days of doing research for this show is I'm flabbergasted. I'm completely flabbergasted, and I'll explain why. So, number one, the lady you saw in the clip, let me explain the clip. That particular video was her, one of her modules on teaching men how to get out of the friend zone. So, you have that girl at work, you have that girl, you had the crush on the girl down the hallway, the girl across the street, whoever it is, you have that crush.
Very popular topic.
Very, very popular topic. Everybody hates the friend zone, right? Guys hate the friend zone. They despise the friend zone. So she's teaching, she has a module, she has a package of courses that you can purchase. One of them is teaching you how to get out of the friend zone. So that clip that you saw was basically her, me and Amina were looking at this to do research for the show. She was busting out laughing because it explained to me why. First of all, let me get the female perspective. And this is a great topic for us because we're having fun with it. And I'm learning from her in real time. And some of this stuff I've been dead right about. Most of it I've been dead right about. But the friend zone clip.
Yeah.
If the guy, if he goes and purchases the book of tactics that she's going to show him, are they going to work?
No.
Why?
Because he's your friend and you're going to automatically know he's running some weird game. He's saying something different. He's not acting like himself. Mm-hmm. He bought a course. He's trying out some new tactics, something he learned. It's not organic. He's not. This is your friend. You're like, what are you doing? You're like the dog when the dog goes,
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Because the scenario, to give you a little on the scenario that because there's more to that video. You only saw a clip. She has an earlier clip that it's the scenario of basically telling the guy that she finally, she's been telling him, hey, I'm too busy. But finally, she's at a point. And I think the scenario she said was she was carving pumpkins that night, for Halloween or whatever. And she thought to call him and say, hey, you want to come over and carve pumpkins and have dinner? To him, guys, what does that mean?
He's been waiting probably for The guy that's in the friend zone is waiting for that one moment where they share a smile or they share a laugh or they're running in the rain together.
He's envisioned this 17
Now,
times.
they're carving popcorns. Naturally, this must be the time.
It has to be. And every guy watching this right now is smiling because he's had that crush on that girl that put him in the first place.
Should I grab a Riesling?
And he's, yeah. And he's thinking, right? He's, oh man, this is the time, and this is actually going to happen. So now what she's teaching you is that once you get over there, now, if you remember from earlier, and if you haven't seen our earlier modern dating videos, go check them out. Some good stuff in there. And one of the things that I say, and like and subscribe to the channel, by the way, we appreciate it. One of the things that I said is that the woman is always 2 steps ahead. Now, guys can argue with me if they want to, but everybody out there probably right now is nodding a little bit like, yeah, we can know. Especially when it comes to dating and trying to do this type of stuff. So if you're trying to use tactics, she's going to know. Yeah. Right?
Immediately.
Because
you can feel it too. You can feel it. It won't feel real. It won't feel organic. It'll feel like it may be rehearsed or something.
Oh yeah, rehearsed for sure. Oh, I'm sure she's going to have you. Now, what I'm going to do with you guys, I got some
fun. That was some of the things she was saying on her page was find out what she likes and memorize it, or find out what she likes and practice it. And quite frankly, if you like her, you won't have to find out what she likes and memorize it. You'll know.
Yeah,
you'll know.
One of the things that she said find out the top 10 things that make her tick. And she said have her write them down.
Yeah.
Which that's not going to work anyway.
I'm not going to do that.
It's not going to work.
I'm not going to do that. Tell me all the things that you like. No, woman you better figure it out. If you care about me, you're going to figure it out. You're not going to ask me to write it down.
She's not writing it down. But come on, bro. So, guys, let me share a couple bullet points that I wrote down here. I just want to get some info out, and then I'm going to do a screen share with you and show you a couple of things that I found that were quite interesting. So, this dating coach and pickup artist thing over the past few years has become very, very popular. Obviously, like I said, the pandemic had a lot to do with that. People were at home, people were bored. People were downloading dating apps, and people were trying to figure out, hey, what do I need to do to get some traction, right? Yeah. So, what happened? You had a huge explosion of pickup artists and dating coaches. And I mean it, guys. Again, I'm flabbergasted because the number of these people, it's a lot of these people. I'm only going to give you tonight a couple, 2 or 3 of them that we talked about, the high profile ones, but there's a bunch of them. And they're selling courses.
Many different types of courses.
Oh my gosh, the courses. I'm serious. I was blown away.
They're preying on every desperate need of the human.
Yes.
Every single one they have created a course for.
We see it as, listen, first of all, let me say this is an entrepreneurial channel, and the idea is not to bash these content creators that are selling these packages. I have no beef with them from an entrepreneurial perspective. I'm talking to the customers. I don't have any beef with these people. All they did was found a market and exploited it. They didn't do anything wrong. And they probably think that their tactics work for real. But what I'm speaking to is you guys, because if you're purchasing any of this stuff, I personally think you're wasting your money. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong because admittedly so, I have to apologize. I assume too much. Remember I told you that I had to apologize tonight? I assume too much. You guys may have heard in the earlier episodes, I was a little bit, maybe I was rough around the edges when it came to, the dating market and things like that. And I was a little bit rough. I've been doing my research, to help evolve. And that's how we're going to evolve the show, right? Mm-hmm. I must evolve along with you guys. Because remember I said in the first episode, I want to grow along with you guys.
Yeah.
I want us all to grow together as we build this out together. I feel like it's a journey that we're all a part of. And what am I going to do if I'm not learning and growing along with y'all? That being said, I have to apologize. I was assuming that guys were more like how me and my friends were when I was growing up and when I was in the military and when I was a single guy when I was young. I was assuming that guys would go up and actually speak to a woman. I was assuming that guys would do nice things for, would hold a door for a woman in a grocery store, which might create a conversation behind it, right? I was assuming that people do like what I do.
No, you can't, because people are confused now because of the information overload. There's access to access only, not just dating, but information, obviously. And there's so many contradictory platforms and comparisons. There's so many people out there that are doing the same thing, just a little tweak here and a little tweak there. Yeah. And there's a bunch of them, and they're selling a mixed bag, and that's what people are getting. They don't know what to do. They just don't know what to do. So they're following this person and that person. They're jumping from this channel to that channel, and they're trying a whole bunch of different things. And instead of trusting their own guidance system and being themselves, and what would be more successful is working on their own self-concept and their own self-worth, and learning. I know it sounds cheesy. I know it sounds corny, but learning self-love, because if you can't love yourself, no one can love you, because you are a reflection. They can feel that from you. So if you don't have self-love, no one really can love you back. And if you do learn how to love yourself and you're an empowered person, you're going to attract to you someone of equal value. If you're a 100 and you attract another 100, you can't go wrong. But if you're a fraction of a person and you're trying courses and ideas from other people that may or may not be successful in a relationship themselves, who knows? But I think you're better off working on your own self-concept, building yourself up, and then being magnetic and pouring that out, and then drawing into you someone that matches the same. And that is totally possible. These people will never tell you that.
See, we just happen to be at the same stage of life when it comes to dating. So we just happen to agree with the idea that she just discussed. I don't think you have to do any of the stuff. I think if you focus on yourself, and I know, again, it sounds cliche, right? But when you really, really, really focus on yourself and building yourself up physically, men, guys, I'm talking to y'all specifically, before you do any of these tactics, before you purchase any of these courses, before you do any of this, get in shape first. That's number one. Until you do that, I don't want you to do anything else. I'm dead serious. Because the process of doing that is going to open up your brain and your mind. Mm-hmm. And guess what? You might be at the gym working out. You may meet the girl in the gym, because you're building towards something. So you're going to actually attract people who are doing the same.
Yes.
They're not going to tell you this information, because what's happening is that a lot of these people, and again, I'm not knocking these folks. And as a matter of fact, let me mention the next gentleman. So Matthew Hussey, who we happen to have a different opinion about based on the information that we looked at, because we see him more as a relationship coach. Like, he seemed to be somebody that we looked at so he's the world's most successful dating coach, and he only mentors women. So he mentors women. He's to put things in perspective.
He sounded like he had a background in psychology or something.
He's a big heavyweight dude.
Yeah. He's
a heavyweight dude. I'll share his page here in a second. But just to give you some backstory on this gentleman, so he's a New York Times bestselling author. For perspective, he has 2.4 million subscribers only to his YouTube channel by itself. Fox News has 1.4 million. CNN has 560,000. He's got more than both of them put together. I'm reading that statistic so that you have the perspective of the reach that these people have.
Yeah.
So your CNNs and your Fox Newses compared to this one dating coach.
Yeah.
See what I mean? One dude has more reach than all of them. So now you start tacking on, and again, I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying, but when you start tacking on this dating coach, that dating coach, this person.
A lot of people have very just low self-esteem, and they don't trust themselves. And a lot of what he was selling, at least that I could hear when he was speaking, he was selling a little bit of self-confidence, and he was teaching you how to hear avoidance, communication when someone's trying to avoid you, just so you can better recognize when someone is not treating you in a worthy manner, and you can make the decision whether or not, okay, now I can read this person. Because some people don't know how to read or understand or create boundaries with other people. They'll just keep letting that person kind of use them, instead of saying, the girl might want to ask him, hey, what are we doing here? Because it's been 6 months and he will, make a commitment. But he's like, that makes me very uncomfortable. I don't like talking about things like that. Yeah. But he still likes effing you.
Sure. Sure.
So some people need that self-confidence boost coach.
He, to me, I listened to some of his stuff, and he has a popular series on regular TV. He has like a dating series on ABC. So this dude's a heavyweight dude, different. And I listened to some of his stuff. I don't see him as selling tactics. You see what I mean?
It's more information, education.
Yeah, I didn't see his as selling tactics. That's why I'm saying there's levels to this.
Yeah.
Now the pickup artists are the ones that are the worst, because they only apply to men.
And they prey on your desperation.
And the stuff.
There's a lot of desperate men out there.
Those pickup artists are going to get somebody into trouble. I saw because now they're using skits, right? And they're having I saw one. The guy, he's a pickup artist, very popular YouTube pickup artist, and he got exposed for using skits. He would have a girl that he knows, right, be standing in the bank or in the store or whatever, and then he would come up behind her and he would whisper sweet nothings, and she would turn around and they would talk, and the next thing you know, they're walking away together. Come on, man. Come on. And I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, there's guys that are going to believe this. There's guys that are actually going to believe this, and then they're going to go out here and do this stuff, and they're going to get embarrassed.
Or into trouble.
Or get into trouble. Seriously.
Can't do that.
So some of this stuff, it gets dangerous. But what I want to do is I'm going to share my screen with you guys. I want to show you something interesting. So this was an article that I found you should be seeing on the screen right now. So this is 6 ways to tell whether a dating coach has legit game or is a scammer. So I found this to be interesting because there are a couple things here questions that I came up with, right? So number one, and we mentioned it, the dating coach doesn't show any proof. Most of them don't. From the ones I saw, most of them, how much success has he actually had, or has she actually had? Mm-hmm. It's kind of a mystery with a lot of these people, right? You don't really get.
They can, you can create testimonials, by the way.
When I mentioned the testimonials of the lady we saw in the opening, because she has a whole bunch of testimonials where there were guys that were saying, hey, since I adopted your course, I've been having all the successful women, and they're like testimonials, right? So you create testimonials, right? So not saying that that's what she did. I'm just saying it was just a thought that came up. The pickup coach displays beta male traits. Guys in Manosphere, you know what that means. We understand, what alphas versus betas are. We don't want to go into that in this video, but we do see guys. I've seen guys that are quote unquote pickup artists, dating coaches that are very, 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 very beta, and the stuff they're talking about. I'm like, come on, man, that's not going to work. But we get what they're saying there. The coach promises quick fixes, right? And it's too markety. The markety is what you were telling me about the pay funnels.
Yes.
Where they explain a pay funnel real quick.
Well, they'll get you to click. You're going to click on it, which automatically they're not going to give you any information until you put in your email address. So they capture your email address. So even if you don't want to go any further, she at least now can add you to their email list. But usually they have a long, nice, gimmicky, that you're reading it, you're interested, you want to keep going, and it says buy here. So you click buy and it takes you to another page, and it just keeps funneling you down. One might be $7 and they'll get you at the $7 because everybody will click on $7. That's nothing. So now they've got your name and your address and everything. And then they'll add you to the email list, and they just keep pumping you with more daily nuggets, keeping you on, do this, and she'll get you, do this. And then at the end of that, there's a link for another course. Almost every other email will have a link to another more expensive course.
More expensive course. So yeah, once they get you in there, right, it feels like you feel like, man, like I'm already in here now, right? Right. So I might as well keep going. And the whole time, if we're
because
guys,
it just depends on the mood that you're on that day.
Yeah.
The email that day just might be the one that gets you for that particular course. Because you have a bunch of different courses, depending on how what desperate mood you're in that day, right?
The courses is just, every time you say courses, it makes me laugh for some reason. But I'm going to read the last 3 to you here. The dating coach doesn't give you the harsh truth. Let me, and that's what we were talking about before the show. The harsh truth is this. If the woman is not attracted to you, none of this matters.
It won't matter what you do.
I mean, I'm sorry to be as blunt as that is. But now there's always exceptions to the rule, right? I'm not saying that there's not a time where it could work in some occasions, but by and large, if the woman is not already attracted to you in some way, shape, or form, she doesn't think you're funny. She doesn't think you're cute. Funny can work. Funny can get you in the door.
Yeah.
Funny can, right?
Yes.
But you don't have to be the best looking guy. If you're really funny, you might get invited over. If you're attractive, you probably will get invited over. So there's levels to all of this. But if she isn't attracted to you, you aren't funny, she likes you as a person, none of these tactics are going to work. None of them are going to work.
Yeah.
So that's really what the harsh truth is. They're not going to tell you that because then you're not going to come back and purchase the next module. Right?
Exactly.
So they're never going to tell you.
Always a chance. They have to always sell you a sliver of hope, right?
Yeah. And because what's happening is they're creating a dependency on themselves, right? And now you feel like, man, I got to go back to this. And you might be getting some good information from some of these folks. Again, some of these courses might have some really good content in there. I don't know, but I'm just saying, it's going to, create a dependency where you feel like you need to go back and get more information. The last 2, it says, and this is the pickup artist coach tells you to, and this is a really good one. He tells you to focus on the process and ignore the results. I actually saw one where the guy was saying, he basically was telling guys it's a numbers game. He kept saying that, right? That was his thing. It's a numbers game, guys. It's a numbers game. Like he kept saying that, right? We know it's a numbers game, dude. What? And this is why I had to say that I had to kind of calm down because I know I'm old. I'm a classic man.
They pretend to empower you while making you a victim at the same time. It's a sleight of hand.
It's good too. It works because I'm sitting there looking. I'm 45. If I'm 25, it's probably gonna work on me, right? Mm-hmm. So when I watch these things, I watch it from that perspective, and I'm like, yeah, I probably would purchase these courses if I'm 25. Mm-hmm. So now from this perspective, I can say I can see what they're actually doing, and now understanding how the dating market actually is, and understanding how tough it can actually be. Because, guys, here I have a confession. So remember in the beginning, I said I'm sorry because I had to give you some more information. I understand now what's going on. So let me give you an example of what happened to me. So when I did my little dating app experiment, once upon a time, I downloaded 3 of the popular apps, right? I think I did Bumble. I did Hinge. I think it was Hinge. Plenty of Fish. One of them. They all look the same to me. I was just like, this really pick dating app download, right? They're all the same thing. So I ended up chatting with this one young lady that I met. Man, we hit it off. The conversation was banging. I was like, man, this dating app thing is working just fine for me because it happened like right off the bat too. Like it happened like right after I got in there.
Beginner's luck.
Yeah. And here I am. Okay. Here I am thinking, yo, what is everybody talking about? This is wonderful, right? So I meet this girl, right? Man, she was like half Asian and half Italian or something like that. She was really exotic looking and she was pretty and all these things. And we're chatting back and forth. And she was a fitness girl. She was in the gym. And, I was in the gym and we're sharing gym pics and we're sitting back and forth and you're getting warm and fuzzies.
Oh,
and I'm like, man, this is cool. And we're just going back and forth. And you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, it's text.
Then what?
And then she ghosted me.
Oh.
And I was sitting there like, I was waking up in the morning. I was looking at my phone like this.
It was your first ghost day.
I didn't know what to do. Like I was looking at it and then I noticed that on the app, her profile now just showed it was just a generic image. Like she was off the app. She was gone, right? So I was like, man, what's going on?
She found somebody.
So about 2 weeks later, I'm on my Instagram, and you know how you have somebody in your contacts, right?
Yes.
And it'll show you, oh, so and so from your contacts is on Instagram, and you should add them to your followers, right? So I see the girl, right, and I was like, and I liked the girl because we was getting along with the app. I still didn't understand what happened, right? So I was like, okay, well, there she is. I sent her a message, and I said, hey, long time no speak. How are you? She replied back. She cursed me out. She went off on me. And I was looking, and like she sent like middle finger emojis and everything. And I was like, what happened? I was confused. I was sitting there, I was like, but, huh? So I didn't know what to do. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. So I started talking to people like, hey man, what does it mean when this happens?
What does it mean?
What is it? Because remember, I'm new out here. I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm asking people, what does this mean? And they're like, oh man, she's spinning plates. I said, huh? He's like, she's spinning plates. I said, what do you mean? He said, she's probably dating 3, 4 dudes, 5 dudes, and she got you confused with one of the other dudes. And I'm like, oh, did they do that? Like this woman was 37. I was like, what? 37-year-old women are doing that? They are. So dudes, but the moral of the story is this. These women are out here dating multiple men. They not all of them. A lot of them are. I had a scenario happen to me another time with a lady that I went to meet at a restaurant. She never showed up. She went to a different restaurant to meet a different dude. So listen, I'm telling y'all that it's a circus out here. So if I can understand, I say all that to say, that was all I needed to delete all of the apps. That was the only experience that I needed. After that, I said, okay, let me delete. Well, except for I had like 67-year-old women reaching out to me on one of the other apps. I don't know what that was. They were like 73-year-old women. I was like, what? I had the golden girls in my app. I was like, remember I showed you some of them. I'm like, why is it?
You have some pull.
I was looking at my profile, like what age did I put by accident? Did I put 43 or 73? Like it was that bad. So I got off the apps. Did you got off the apps?
Yeah, that was.
Why?
It was awful. Same kind of thing. I mean, I was on Tinder, OkCupid, and I think there was one called Meet Me or something like that.
Okay.
And
did you ever get ghosted?
It was short-lived. I did.
Okay.
That's how I found out what it was. I didn't know either.
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
It's weird. It's weird, especially when you're in your 40s. Like you get ghosted in your 40s, you be like,
oh my God.
I was confused. I swear, it took me the longest time because I usually, I'm not tooting my horn too much, but I, had pretty decent success with women in my life, and I never really had nothing like that happen. Like I was like, what happened? What would I do?
Yeah.
She leave for?
It's weird.
We were having fun.
It's rude.
So I understand, guys. If you're purchasing courses because you've gone through this, my suggestion is this: delete all the apps. Don't purchase any of the courses. Go to the gym. Start there. Once you build a foundation of your health and your fitness, you get your diet together. We'll be doing more diet shows coming up this year. Amina's due for a follow-up there.
Yep.
These are the things that
start building and working on your self-concept and your self-confidence, your self-esteem, your self-love, self. Become selfish and worry about you and your well-being and where you're going and your hobbies and your habits and your lifestyle and your state of being and your health. And when you're solid, you'll magnify that out and attract the perfect partner. They'll come to you. Or maybe you contact Matthew Hussey.
Matthew's for if you're already in there. Like that's another thing I noticed, guys, before we wrap up. I know we're bumping up against this time, but some of these coaches that I listen to are actually more like, relationship specialists that were like kind of like, okay, you're in a relationship, that kind of like counselors in a way, but not in the way that, we're having terrible problems, we got to go to counseling. But you're trying to figure out maybe how to take the relationship to the next level, and you don't know how to maybe approach that. Like maybe you're the guy that wants to propose, but you don't want to get embarrassed at the baseball game.
Oh God.
You know, when you feel sorry for the dude that got on his knee at the baseball game, and then the woman either walks away or slaps him in the face. That's got to be the worst thing in the world.
That's crazy.
Because he had no idea what he was doing. Maybe he should have bought courses.
Maybe he's the one that should buy the course.
Because he had no idea. Like if the woman does that, how do you get that
How
far
do you
apart?
not know?
I had a buddy who did, not a buddy, but it was a coworker that I work with. That happened to him. And he proposed, and she was like shocked that he proposed. Like she was like, she looked at him, she's like, "What? We're just friends." And he was devastated.
Aww.
He's devastated. He's devastated to this day.
How did he not know?
I don't know.
Did you ask him?
Maybe. I didn't get the whole story from him, but it was.
That's awful.
He misread the room.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was rough. So, with that being said, we are up against time. We're going to wrap it up for tonight. Like and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all the feedback. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. If you disagree with us, if you agree with us, if you got something out of this, if you enjoy the content, if you didn't enjoy the content, tell us about it in the comment section. We'd love to have it either way. Thank you for being part of the process. See you next time.